You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. You come into contact with something like that shifts your paradigm completely. It changes something in your brain. I believe it opens up something that might have been sleeping before, and you're able to pick up on things all around us. Next month,
do that.
Yes, man. And next month, I'm having James True on. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
He's a great researcher and author. I had him on a few years back, and his concepts were so foreign to me. It was fascinating, but it wasn't anything I've ever considered before, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. But he was also talking about how people who are schizophrenics seemingly have this aperture in their brain that's opened more, that they can perceive more, and he believes that there's just a misunderstanding of what's happening with schizophrenics, that they're perceiving these other dimensions, they're perceiving these other intelligence that are around them, and they just don't know how to filter that stuff out, or they're unable to because of whatever's happening in their mind. And I'm wondering if what's happening now collectively is that more people are just becoming aware. Once you take the cat out of the box, there's no putting it back in there. Once Pandora's box is open, it's all coming out. And I'm wondering, with all the information, access to internet, access to shows like ours, where we're presenting this insane information that more and more seems to be true in certain aspects and certain bits of information. And not only that, the incredible high-impact events that are unfolding, that are confirming some of the things that we've been talking about for a very long time. Well, once people become aware of that, they can't become unaware of that. And more people are. And it's having this 100th monkey effect across our planet right now, where people are just becoming aware. And I think the response to that we're seeing is conspiracy culture is now mainstream. They can't hide it anymore, so they have to throw everything at us, muddy the waters, so that we're not sure what's true and what's not, and this is happening more and more. But what's also happening is we're able to sift through the nonsense more and more. The more that we become aware that A is happening, and they're doing B to try and get us to not see A, they're seemingly either making mistakes or they're doing this intentionally. And this is where James True's theories I find very interesting. Like I said, when I had him on a couple of years ago, it was very intriguing. I didn't really agree with it. I didn't understand everything he was saying. And I wanted to have him back on, I think it was sometime last year, where I wanted to kind of argue with him a little bit and pick his brain more, and something happened. He wasn't able to come back on. Now he's able to come back on. And I am almost sharing the same perspective that he initially presented to me, that what if at the highest levels they believe they're doing things because they have certain ideologies and spiritual beliefs and practices, and they believe that they owe humanity an evolution, that they're in control of our evolution for some reason because they've been put in power. But what if at the very top, these very powerful groups of people are doing these things because it's flowing through their consciousness? They're not even in control ultimately of what they're doing. It's this collective intelligence or energy that has been evolving humanity. We've always had it. But it's something that they aren't even aware of. They may have certain ideologies and ideas of where they believe they want humanity to go, but because it's a collective field and they're not working alone, they never have been, they're working with the rest of the world, and everybody's consciousness is connected. And the more the people at the bottom start to become aware of what the people at the top are doing, it's going to inevitably affect the consciousness field from the bottom to the top, the same from the top to the bottom. But it's intermingling so much that I wonder if this is going to be a natural evolution of consciousness no matter what, that we're going to go through all these insane times because we have to, because it's the only way that we're going to reach the next stage of evolution. And maybe these globalist elitists don't even realize that that's what they're doing. They're evolving us. But through these ancient mystery school understandings, magical practices, maybe some of them are more aware than others of what's happening. But I think if you're anywhere below the top level of the pyramid, you have no idea, and you're just flowing with the energies that are going through you. What do you think about that?
I think a lot about that, honestly. It's been one of the perspectives that's been my most long running. Even after my Dark Night of the Soul, I still kind of can glimpse into that world and go, yeah. My first year on the show, 2021, I got invited to go to Union of the Unwanted. And on my first show on Union of the Unwanted, everybody's just talking. I mean, it's 2021, right? And we're talking about Union. You guys who figure shit out for a living and they're great at it, right? And who sift through psyops and they're the best at what they do. And I'm sitting here as this new guy just sitting there like, hey guys, what if the lizard turds are actually part of a bigger thing and it's all working out and it's all playing to work us, in a certain direction and wake us all up? And it was crickets. And then I think Mike from Odium said something about it, and he actually wanted to talk about it. And so it was, it's an interesting turn though. So I've sort of entertained that perspective for a long time. This idea of like, okay, if it's all big picture shit, if it's all big and out of our understanding, but also we can look at this like a game, we can see Bill Hicks's It's a Ride. We can see this idea that it's a play and that all actors, the villain and the hero, bow at the end, meaning that they're both necessary to construct the dynamics of the situation. So when looking at it like that, yeah, that's a great way to either, on one hand, spiritually bypass and just say that this is how I'm dealing with this, or look at it from a very emotionally mature perspective and say, perhaps this is an interconnected universe where there are larger factions at play here. And this is also where the understanding comes to the challenges I've had with this idea of Dolores Cannon, and uncomparing it to the Armageddon or sort of the biblical stories, which I'm going to come back to long-standing psyops, perhaps, like what you touched on. And this idea that because we go there, and because this other it goes there, meaning this third dimension, fifth dimension, or heaven hell idea, that because this other, seemingly other in our reality, played this role to which it played it perfectly, then they're going to be punished for playing their role so well. It's like to say, because this dude was, an actor in a movie as a villain, then he's going to die in the end because really that act we took seriously. But again, if we can detach from the emotional state that this reality demands, which is demanding and challenging, then maybe we can see it at a bigger level that, yeah, it's a play going on, and that your response to the play is to grow and to just maintain your shit and to not get too distracted by all the dangling keys of the play and the lights falling down around you and shit. Because, yeah, it feels like this final act scenario is sort of approaching, but who knows, man? Everybody in my family has said Jesus is going to come back in their life, and so far he's just kind of been hanging out in the clouds, I guess. He overslept or whatever. But this idea, though, also of it being a psyop long planted. Now, this is something I've really talked about. When Micah Dank was on, I want to also say first year, we talked about, I was asking him if Revelation was a book planted because then they knew that the psyche of the human mind would have long enough with it to then entertain it, to manifest it into reality. Because like you're saying, it's a co-collective reality. And so if those in power who are whispering in our ears to create reality the way that they want us to, have the biblical texts or have control over time, let's say, and can plant texts early on, and then these secretive societies can operate in the shadows as if they're warring religious factions, as if they're countries that disagree. But then you have something like the Antarctic Treaty where all of the countries of the world can disagree on war and political factions and stuff, but they can all say, don't go here.